welcome to another WebFire Wednesday webinar. So we have some pretty cool stuff for you today. On this call, we'll basically be doing an extended Q&A. So we sent out an email or two prior this week and asked if you guys had any questions, and we got a handful of responses back, so we'll be addressing those. And if there's any new questions that you guys have as well, you can ask those as well. So we basically covered a lot of stuff in the last few weeks. We showed off a bunch of new tools inside of WebFire that you'd have access to for free. We've done walkthroughs of those, explain why they're important. We talked about schemas. We talked about some new SEO analysis that we've done on tons and tons and tons of sites, and shown some actual facts based on actual data of what's working and what's not in terms of ranking and all that stuff. So we've had some pretty exciting calls the last few times, and we thought, since there's probably a bunch of questions and stuff like that, we thought that we would have an extended Q&A call this time, where you can ask any question or anything that you want more help on. You could ask that these calls right here. So we have a handful of questions that we wrote down ahead of time from guys that have emailed us back, but we know a lot of you probably saved your questions until the call itself. So at any point in time, if you have a question, just feel free to type that in the chat box, and we have some time set aside to go through all the questions that you guys come up with now, as well as the questions that we got ahead of time. So without further ado, we can get this show on the road. So once again, welcome to the WebFire Wednesday webinar, and this time I will be again the extended Q&A. My name is Brian Kaz, and I'm joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. So again, any questions, feel free to type those in the chat box. So again, we have these calls every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, where it will either be live training and or a Q&A call for WebFire members. And these trainings will either feature myself, Brian Kaz, or Sean Casey, or both of us at once, or occasionally a featured special guest if we think that their expertise would be of value to our members. So in the near future, we'll probably invite another one, but usually it's mostly either myself or Sean, or both of us. But again, occasionally we'll have a special guest, and those are always fun too. So if you're here or registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week so you don't forget. But if you can't make one, we'll have the recordings in the members area within a day of any of the calls, and they'll be in the training tab on the left side navigation bar under the Wednesday webinars. Now, you want to use these calls as, again, an opportunity to get even more training, ask strategy type questions, get feedback, or make suggestions on what else you'd like to be trained on. And as a special note, like always, we oftentimes get asked if we can do a call on this or that or all sorts of stuff. And a lot of stuff that you guys are asking has already been covered extensively on a lot of our prior calls. So again, don't just wait for like the next live call. Make sure to check the prior trainings and all that too, because there's a reason why we record them and have those up in the members area. We have a lot of calls on how to rank, how to reply to leads, and all sorts of good stuff there. Because again, all that stuff has been covered on lots of our prior calls, and of course we reiterate several key points throughout all these calls too. So it's not like we just mention stuff once and never ever again, but make sure to check out the prior ones. And of course, follow the 3 rules to success. And number 1, follow the steps and trainings that we have. Number 2, don't give up. Seek help when needed, but don't get too dependent. And that means that if there's a simple question that Google can basically answer in like a second, Google it. Don't get too dependent where you feel like you can't do squat. When really, I think like 99% of the time, people can quickly and easily help themselves in seconds. So if so, do so. But if you're still stuck, again, ask for help. And number 3, no whining or negative attitudes, because in my opinion, that's the quickest way to fail. If there's a guy that's looking to whine about anything or looking to complain or be down about anything and everything, it's almost impossible, I think, to really go far, in a business with that kind of attitude. Because if you're looking for a reason why to be down, or if you're looking to basically fail, you will. And that's that. And of course, a few quick announcements. We announced this on the last call and stuff too, but I just want to reiterate because I know not everyone goes to every call live. But as a side note, we have several new tools that have recently been added, and they're all again free in the members area. We've done some new site analysis tool updates and tweaks, including the ability to check for schemas, because again, one of the new tools we have is a schema tool that can make schemas for you, which is a way to take up more search engine space and have a much easier time of ranking and getting a lot more stuff ranked too. So that's definitely a major trend that we're seeing. So we made that tool for you guys, and you know, there's not really an easy way to make a schema other than this. So this is a huge time saver for you, and very powerful too. And again, that's free. We could have easily charged, you know, a small fortune for that, and it would have been worth it. But again, we thought we'd give that away for free to our members. We also have a .edu and .gov tool that finds .edu and .gov sites that are by keyword that you can get backlinks from, so you can get authority backlinks through that. We also have some new features in the social poster, which includes a plugin that will automatically turn now your blog post into social posts, so you don't even have to schedule stuff ahead of time, which the social poster has done for a long time. Now instead, if you want, you can just turn every new blog post automatically into a social post on Facebook and Twitter and such. And of course, we also added an Instagram feature there as well. And of course, we've also had for the past while a new Facebook group page, which is free, which is just getwebfire.com/FB group. Again, that's getwebfire.com/FB group. If you're not a member of that now, make sure to sign up right now, because at the very end of this call, we'll actually be giving out $100 cash to a random person there. So you'll have a chance if you join that right now, and again, that's all free. And of course, we also have an Atlanta event that's coming up very soon. In fact, it's only about a week and a half away. So it's not this weekend, but it's the next weekend. And again, that's in Atlanta. So to get more information and to find out you know, the exact times and all that right there, you can get a free tickets there, but you have to go to right now to getwebfire.com/event. Again, that's getwebfire.com/event, and you can grab your free tickets for that. And definitely try to make that if you can. We'll have both myself and Sean there, and we'll basically be doing tons and tons of training for you and all sorts of stuff, and we'll have some hands-on activities too to, you know, help build your funnels, increase your price points, show you how to make money from scratch, even as an affiliate of stuff, and you know, all sorts of cool stuff. So definitely take the time to attend there, regardless if you have an existing business now that you're looking to take to the next level, or you're looking to start from scratch. Definitely would be worth your time right there. And again, it's not very often that we do events, and it's even less often that we have a free one like this right here for, you know, you guys. So again, getwebfire.com/event. All your questions on the event will actually be answered on that page, or of course you can ask us, and we'll answer you on this call too on that if you have any questions. So now let's move on to our extended Q&A. So we sent out some questions prior to this call, and we got a handful of responses back. So I put those questions on some slides here. But if you have an additional question or you didn't write back then, you can certainly ask in the Q&A box right now, and we'll get to those after these right now. But make sure to ask those now, and we'll get to it right after those that sent us an email back. So some of you sent some comparable questions in too, so I combined some into one to make it easy here. So here's some questions that we received. The first one was how to email leads. There's a question we got specifically that asked us to give an example how to email a targeted list in a particular niche, but they didn't mention what the niche was. So that if that was you, you certainly can give us an idea of what that niche is, and we can be more specific with that. But essentially what you want to do is you want to think kind of like the user, basically, or like your prospect. A lot of people make the mistake of they're just trying to basically sell stuff, and they assume that their prospect knows way more than what they truly do. So like if you have a list of people that are interested perhaps in internet marketing or SEO or stuff like that, oftentimes people make the mistake that they think they know as much or more than them, which oftentimes is not the case. So if you're trying to sell let's say an SEO tool or an SEO service to leads that have an interest in, let's say, internet marketing, there's a few things that you want to do. One, you want to have an attention-grabbing subject line to start with. Because keep in mind, people get bombarded with emails every day. I mean, tons and tons and tons of them. And if they have an interest in, let's say, a certain niche, they're probably on multiple lists in that same niche. And they probably get multiple emails a day, related to that niche right there. So you want to do something to stand out right there. Whether that's giving something out of value for free, whether that's having an attention-grabbing headline. Like I'll give you an example. Like one of the tools that we've sold in the past helps people find a bunch of leads in real time. So you could have kind of a boring line like hey, tool finds leads, or hey, check out this new tool, or stuff like that. That won't work all that well because it doesn't really grab attention. Whereas the subject line I used that worked really well was something like get 83 leads in 18 seconds, and that was based on an example search that I did where I got 83 leads and it took about 18 seconds. Actually, it was faster than that, but I figured guys wouldn't necessarily believe if I said it was done in less than that time right there. So a subject line like that instantly grabs attention because anyone that's interested in, let's say, leads would say, hey, 83 leads in 18 seconds, that's a very bold claim. So the curiosity factor alone makes them click on it just to see what that's basically about. And if you can spark a curiosity factor like that, you'll get many more opens. And then if you get more opens, you have more of a chance to get clicks and, of course, sales and stuff too. And then in the actual email itself, I talked about this new tool we use. And I talked about, hey, this the first search that we did, we were able to get 83 leads of people looking to buy exactly what we could be selling them in 18 seconds. And I said, hey, if that sounds too good to be true, or if it sounds like that's too good to be real, check out this link right here where you can see a live recorded demo of that exact same search right there. So the curiosity factor alone makes them click through, check out the actual replay, or you could see it live in action right there. So that worked really well. It got a lot of opens, lots of clicks in the past, and that also turned into a lot of sales and stuff too. And that kind of leads into my second question right here, which we'll group together, and that's how do you turn leads into sales? And there's multiple ways of doing that, kind of the exact same thing, and it really depends on the kind of sale. Like, if you're looking to sell like a $7 product, it's you can have like a basic sales page if the product has value and get sales that way, lead them into a funnel. But if you're looking to sell like a high-end product, like $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, or anything like that, it's very hard to turn like a cold lead into a sale unless you can grab their attention longer. And one of the good ways to basically do that is to get them either on a live webinar or make like a webinar replay that you send them to, where they might have like an hour and a half of hearing your voice, hearing your content, seeing let's say a demo of your services or software, or the info that you have and all that stuff right there, makes them build much more of a relationship with you, and you'll be far more likely to turn that into sales. The other thing on that note that works real well leads into the third one that we have right here, and that's how to get people to take action, how to get them to buy. One of the things that we've done and tested a lot that has worked really awesome is to basically offer a discount deal with a limited time deal on it. And what we found works the absolute best there is to have like a 3-day countdown, where basically, like, let's say you have a sale, and this works especially well on like high price products, but it also works on low end stuff too. So let's say you have a product that you're looking to sell for $1,000. Let's say you say that the normal price is $2,000, okay? But for 3 days, it's half price, it's half off, and maybe you include a bonus on top of that. What you want to basically do is the system we have includes like 6 emails that you send out, and what you basically do on day 1, so you have a deadline that in 3 days at, let's say, midnight, the deal ends. So on day 1, you send out a single email and you tell them about this deal that you have. Now, you might get a sale there. If you're selling like a high-end thing that's like $1,000, you might get like a sale or two then. If you're selling a cheaper thing, sure, you'll probably get more sales and stuff then. But day 1 isn't meant to get a lot of sales. So on day 1, it alerts them to the discount. They're aware of it. They know they have to take action, but people tend to not really move unless they're almost forced to. Like, if you're at like a furniture store and the deal ends like that day, you're far more likely to actually buy it then than if they say, oh, we have a deal this whole week. You need reminders essentially. But for whatever reason, there's people that might miss the initial email, that might be busy, or they might need that extra push. So on day 2, you send 2 emails. One in the morning and one perhaps in the afternoon or evening. And you basically just remind them that, hey, there's essentially a day and a half or two days left on this special deal here. Now, you might make some sales then too, but it's not really necessarily a big sales day. But that's not the point, because on day 3, which is the final day, you send 3 emails, and we send one in the morning, one in the afternoon or evening, and then one like right prior to when the cart basically closes or when the deal ends. So if the deal ends at midnight, you might send out like an email at 8, 9, or 10 at night, where they only have essentially hours left. And on the first email you send that day, you can have a subject line like, hey, half off deal ends tonight. On the one that you send in the afternoon or the evening, you might say, hey, only 6 hours left until this deal's done. And on the one that ends in like a couple hours, say, hey, only a couple hours left until the half off deal, or hey, final warning, 2 hours left, or some subject line that's like that, that's alerting them to, hey, this is the final warning, this is your last chance, or anything like that. And what you'll find is right prior to the deadline, you'll get a lot of sales. Like, most of your sales typically will actually happen right prior to that deadline. In fact, it was kind of funny because we ran this not too long ago, and literally right prior to our deadline, like minutes prior, we got sales that came in right then, where it was the fastest time was the 10 minutes prior to the deadline, where sales might look like okay, and then all of a sudden they just pour in at the very end. And that's just how people are basically trained. And that's one way where you can get a lot of people to take action, is to basically offer a discount deal. And with that, what works really well is not only alert them to the limited time deal, but on the sales page itself say, hey, this deal ends, midnight on this day right here. And on top of that, if you have like a countdown on it, like a countdown timer, that works really well. In fact, we have a countdown tool actually that is fairly cheap. I forgot the exact price, but Sean, if I think it was like what, like $7 or something like
it's
that.
It's like $800,000.
Okay, yeah.
It's really cheap. No, it's I don't actually know if it's like $9 or $19, but it's inexpensive.
Yeah, it was like I want to say it was in the range of like $7 to $27. I don't know offhand, but if memory serves, Sharon, if you could just post that link up for them. But I think it was just timermagic.com. But Sharon will post up that link for you in a second or two right there. But it basically allows you to have essentially a countdown timer, on your site. So you can set like the time it counts down or anything like that. So if you want to set like a date and say, hey, on this day at midnight or at 2 p.m. or whatever time you pick, the deal basically ends. You can have the official countdown then. Or if you have like an evergreen offer, where the second a person hits your page, you can say, hey, they have 2 hours or 6 hours or 12 hours until the deal ends. If you want to go about it that way, you can as well. So based on their IP, you can go about it that way. We oftentimes, when we send out emails, we just have like a set deadline. And then, of course, on top of that too, what's funny is that, like, if the deadline is midnight, let's say, and let's say you have yourself or a tech guy that changes the sales link around or the sales page afterwards, if you wait like just a little bit, like whether it be a half hour or an hour or a few hours or anything like that, you'll get sales like immediately after the deadline where they think that they basically tricked you, like ha 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 ha, I got the deal in even though the deadline's up, and you'll get sales that will pour in through that. But then at some point, obviously, you do want to take essentially the deal down because it's more legit at that point. And then the next time you run that deal, people are far more likely to take action because they're like, crap, he really did change the price and all that right there. And that's also not just a great way to get guys to take action. It's also a great way to make money off of even like a fairly dead list because everyone likes discount deals. And if you're looking to make a lot of money in a short time, that's one of, I think, the quickest ways to basically do that off of a list there too. And yep, Sharon posted the link up there, and I was right on that, and it's just timermagic.com. So it's a very cheap deal right there for you guys. But I mean, if you don't want to do like a discount deal, I mean, basically anything that you can do to get them to take action, whether it be like filling out like a survey or a form, anything like that is always good. Surveys have worked really well for us too, where we basically try to get them to fill out like a survey essentially and ask them some questions on their business, what they're looking for, what they're most interested in. Then based upon the interest that they have or based upon what they tell us that they need, you can then try to sell them on exactly what they want and stuff. And that's one thing that's worked well. And we actually have a survey tool for that too. I don't have the link offhand, but maybe Sharon can look that up and we'll try to share that with you later, or maybe we'll email out on that at some point. But that's a useful tool right there as well. And there's other survey tools out there, but this is a pretty cool one where you could have like a custom ending to it, like if someone or a custom response. So like if someone says, hey, I'm only interested in affiliate marketing, you could have an offer specifically only for those guys. Or if they're saying, hey, I'm a business and I make over $1 million a year, and I'm looking for this and that, you can have a custom offer towards that one that might be more geared towards them there too. So that's another great way to get them to take action, where you're not necessarily getting them to agree to buy right then. You're just saying, hey, take this survey to help you, to help us help you more. Like that can work well too. The next question we got is there's a couple guys that asked something along the lines of how do they compete with other services or products out there. And this is oftentimes one of the common mistakes I see, which I think a lot of you need to fix, like basically the mentality ASAP. Is there's a lot of guys that think the only thing to compete on is price, and I think that's oftentimes people think like that because they think of like like let's say a store that sells the exact same thing. So if you're at a store and let's say they're selling iPads, and the exact same iPad at one store, let's say, is for $350 and the other stores are $400, sure, the majority of people will go to the store where they can grab it at $350, assuming that the warranty and everything else is the exact same. So a lot of people think, well, gee, the only way to compete with others is to have a lower price. But that's actually wrong. And that oftentimes you can shoot yourself in the foot. Reason being with that is, like let's say someone sells a book on how to lose weight, and they sell it for, let's say, $27. A lot of people think, well, gee, I'll write a book that's like that, but I'll sell it for $17. Then the next guy goes, well, I'll sell it for $7. The next guy goes, I'll sell it for $5. And before you know it, you all shoot yourselves in the foot, because the guy that sells it at $5 won't make 6 times as many sales to make up for the guy that sells it at $27. And on that note too, you won't get rich off that. And oftentimes too, the higher priced guy, there's lots of ways where he can sell a lot more than the lower priced guy. And the lower priced guys think, well, gee, how come I'm not making any sales when I'm a fraction of the price the rest of the people? It's the same thing like if you went to a grocery store and you see Coca-Cola next to a non-brand name that sells for half price, Coca-Cola still sells a lot more, even though it's almost virtually the same thing. And it's because of the branding and the marketing and all that right there. And one of the things that you can do to compete with other products is really 3 things. I think there's 3 main choices with that. One is you can cater towards the elite or high-end market. So instead of trying to compete with like a $7 product, make like a $1,000 product or service. So bring yourself to a whole new level and try to cater towards the more elite crowd, where there tends to be a lot less competition at the same time. And one of the tricks of basically doing that is to have a more done-for-you type service. So the more stuff that you can do for the client to basically make it hands-free, the more you can charge. So like you can sell a book on how to rank a website, and you can sell it for like $7 to $47 or so, and you can get some sales if you have the social proof and all that right there. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't like reading. They don't like taking the time to do all that crap. Whereas you can sell a software tool that helps them do it, and you can sell it for a lot more. Instead of like instead of a price of like $7 to $47, you can sell it for hundreds of dollars, or in some cases even thousands of dollars, and people will happily pay that because they think the software makes it much, much easier and they don't have to learn all that crap. Whereas if you step that up a notch and you do a service where you rank the websites for them and you do all that, you can charge like $1,000 or $2,000 a month in some cases. And as long as you're doing all the work for them and the client doesn't even have to really think, that has a ton of value for them, and the elite clients would rather have that than have to read on how to do it themselves, or even on how to use a software tool themselves. So even though they know it costs a lot more, they would just rather have that get done, because the higher end businesses and stuff, they'd rather pay to have a problem solved fast that they don't have to think on than to save a bit but waste a lot of time, because to them, time is money. Same reason why like, really, really, really wealthy people might, own like a private jet, and might save them like an hour of flying to fly a private jet to a place, because even though they might spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on that trip, basically, to them their time is worth more, and it's a different kind of mentality, basically. The other way to compete with other services, if you don't want to go on the elite end, is you can have basically a funnel where you do or give something for free, and you lead them into a funnel where you have your higher-end stuff or your paid stuff. So a lot of people tend to try to sell something from like the get-go, whereas if you give something for free out initially, you're much more likely to get guys to take action, and you can compete with a lot of other similar services, because you might be the only one giving that stuff out for free. Like if you're trying to sell like an SEO service, let's say, you could have something where you make them a mobile site for free to help them rank on the mobile side, where even though that might cost you $5 to go to Fiverr and make a mobile site for them, you'll get a lot of attention, and a lot of guys say, wow, this is an awesome value, and they'll kind of flock towards you rather than the guys are looking to charge them from day one. And then when you say, hey, if you want to rank even better, or you want to rank your main site well, I can also do that here for this fee right here, they're much more likely to trust you after you've already helped them get that initial freebie right there. And sure, there's some guys that will just take the freebie and that's it, but it's a numbers game at that point, because if you're charging a decent price, you don't need necessarily a ton of clients to make that all worthwhile right there. So think of what you can give out for free that can grab a lot of attention. The third way, too, to compete with others, I think, is to try to be as specific as possible with what your actual offer is. Like using the SEO example. If you have an SEO service, you could break that down and have dozens of SEO services and stuff. Like one could be SEO for dentists. Another could be SEO for chiropractors, or whatever you want right there, where realistically the service is the exact same. You're just gearing it towards a slightly different crowd each time. So even though the work is the exact same and your sales pitch is almost the exact same, it's just in one you might show off an example of a dentist site, in another you might show off an example of a chiropractor site, and you might say why some dentists don't rank, and in the other one you might say why some chiropractors don't rank. Again, virtually the exact same message. You're just tweaking just a few things, that you're, basically talking about. And if they, if a dentist sees a normal SEO service or one that says that they specialize in dentists, which one do you think they're going to go towards? Obviously you. Another example is if you have, let's say, a weight loss product, okay? And instead of trying to sell this huge weight loss book that basically covers everything, you could kind of break that down into little sub niches. And let's say there's a guy that wants to lose arm, or wants to lose our, let's say a better example. One that I've seen that I've always found funny. There's more so women tend to want to lose like what I call essentially arm flab. Like, if their arms flab and stuff, I've seen women joke about that, and there's actually like a sub niche on that where they want to lose like arm flab or arm weight, basically. So which one do you think they'd be more likely to purchase? So I'll ask you guys this, and you can type in a one or two based on what you think. So do you think they would rather spend $47 on a course that specifically talks about how to lose arm flab, or do you think they'd rather spend $17 on a much larger course that covers how to lose weight in general and has specifically a section on arm flab? So type 1 if you think they would rather pay more, let's say $47, for a smaller book that's specifically only on how to lose arm flab, or do you think they'd rather pay less, like let's say $17, for a book that is huge and covers everything about weight loss, including flab and all that. So which do you think they'd rather do? Press 1 for just the book on arm flab, even though it costs more, or press 2 for the book on everything that costs less. So let's see what you guys think right here. All right, so it looks like almost everyone says 1. There's a couple of you that say 2, and of course everyone can have their own opinion, but what you'll find is as a whole, people typically would rather pay more for a smaller course that specifically covers the problem that they have. And that's the same way with almost everything. Granted, you'll always get some guys that think, hey, why do that when I can pay less for the larger course? Now, logically, they're probably right. I mean, if there's a section on how to lose arm flab, that should hypothetically be fine. But the mindset that people have is they want to make sure that the problem they have is specifically addressed. And if the entire course is just on arm flab, in their eyes it's like, wow, I'd rather pay more to have an entire course on arm flab versus pay less and have an even larger course that covers everything, including arm flab. It's just mindset.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
But your analysis presumes that the visitor who's looking for the info is going to wade through a 20-minute video or 20 pages of text to find out if the voluminous course has the answer to their one specific question, or if instead they're going to come to the page with the course that clearly answers their question and talks about the problem that they're trying to solve, and then says, oh, look, this is the problem I'm trying to solve, not let me go see if I can spend the next 3 days reading everything online about every possible alternative to this information product, and maybe buried in 20 pages of someone else's sales letter is the secret nugget I'm looking for, and therefore I'm going to go buy this, because that's not the way we work.
Yeah, that's a great point too. Like it's not just the way that we're basically wired. It's also the fact that if your sales page specifically talks all about arm flab, they know that you solved their problem. Whereas if your sales page basically covers everything, it's very hard to see, hey, does this really solve my problem here? And what's cool with that is you could take like one big weight loss guide and break it down into like a dozen or more little sub-niche products based on the exact same thing. So that's one way that you can compete with other guys. And what's cool there is you can oftentimes charge more for solving a particular problem than charging less to basically solve a bunch of things, all at once there, as long as you can get a clear message across. And the cool part with that is oftentimes you find that the sub-niches are far, far easier to rank for. Like trying to rank for weight loss as a whole is probably really, really tough, but trying to rank for like how to lose arm fat or arm flab or some term like that is probably much, much easier. So that's, that's one more thing to keep in mind right there. And with that too, another question we got, or there's actually a couple like this, was how to build a funnel, and that kind of goes with one of the prior questions that I talked about, which was there's multiple ways that you can go about that. There's a lot of guys that try to sell from the get-go. I find that oftentimes if you give something out for free, that tends to be a great way to get them in the funnel. Or if not free, like a lower, cheaper end then. But what tends to work well is if you have like an opt-in page where they opt in for a free offer of some kind, and then immediately after that there's some like low-end offer. And but by low-end, it could be anywhere from like $7 to like $47, or but typically if it's less than $10, it's much more of like an impulse buy. So you tend to get more sales then. And then the second a person whips out their credit card for you and buys from you, they're far more likely to buy from you after that point. So you want to get them to whip out their card as quick as possible. And like if it's less than $10, that tends to work quite well. Then after they have the low-end offer, you can present them with a higher-end offer, like maybe $47 or $97. If they say no to that, you can sometimes have like a downsell where it's like, hey, you won't get everything, but if we give you most of this at half the price, would you say yes then? And you kind of work it in then. And then what can also work well too is if they say no to all that, you can sometimes do like a trial. Say, hey, like if you have like a monthly service or monthly product or some deal like that, you can say, hey, for $1, would you be willing to try this out for 2 weeks or a month or anything like that? And you can get a lot of guys saying yes, and build up these subscription based upon that. But you don't just want to have like a few one-time offers or upsells immediately after they buy. You also want to have like when they go to like the download page or the thank you page or anything like that, or in the initial email that you send them, you can work in back-end promos. Like if you're working with guys that need a website or hosting, why not have a suggested host that they can work with? Because again, when they click that, they'll click your affiliate link, you'll make sales off that. If they need an autoresponder, why not have an affiliate link to an autoresponder? If they need tools to help them rank or get traffic, why not have an affiliate offer for something like WebFire, which we've done a lot and can work quite well there. But then even after that point, you don't want to just give up then, which a lot of guys do. Like a lot of guys only have the focus of making that initial sale and then they're done. You want to realize that, hey, now that you have that lead, or once you have that list or that list of buyers essentially, you can send them additional promos over time, suggesting more products and tools to them and all that right there. And the value of that one sale can jump up astronomically over time. And what I find that most guys out there typically only have one product, and it's like a $7 product that you simply can't really profit off of. I mean, if you're selling a product that's like $1,000 a month or a few grand, you don't necessarily need like an upsell or like an OTO. I think it can still help, but you don't necessarily need one, per se. But if you're selling like a $7 product, there's literally like almost no way that you can make a lot of money or pay for ads or have it be worth your while unless you have a funnel with that, unless you have OTOs with that. So you kind of want to change your, mindset with that right there. Because if you increase the average value per buyer, you decrease the amount of sales that you need to make whatever your income goal is. So the other question we got from a couple of guys is, hey, what's a good way to find good niches for affiliate products? Well, this is a problem I oftentimes see. There's guys that will either be an affiliate for a very popular product with like tons and tons and tons of reviews out there, where it might be really hard for them to rank, or they try to be an affiliate for a product that just doesn't get any sales to start with. And the problem is that if you're an affiliate for a product that no one's buying, okay, you're not going to make sales. Like if you're an affiliate for a very obscure, book that hasn't made any sales yet, and in the past year, you're not likely about to drive a lot of traffic there, because the majority of you will be writing like reviews or talking about the product or stuff like that. So if you're writing like, let's say, affiliate reviews, you want to pick products that people are actively buying all the time. So like and one trick that I basically have is search like a place like Amazon. See what people are buying, see what's listed there. If it's listed in a search, probably people are buying it and making sales. Or if you do a search on Google, if it's listed somewhere on page 1, it's probably making sales. If you search on ClickBank, you can sort by gravity and all that, which is like an indicator of how many affiliates and how much it's selling and stuff like that. But I also just say like use common sense. Like if it seems like a popular product, people are talking about it, it's probably a good one to actually shoot for. But on that note, it's oftentimes just as easy to write an affiliate review for a product that you make hundreds of dollars off of or make a reoccurring income off of than it is to write a review for one that you make only a couple bucks off of. So keep that in mind as well. And secondly on that, you can use like the keyword tools inside of WebFire to try to see what might be some easier ones to rank for. How can you optimize your blog posts and all that. A trick that can work quite well is to have if a term like product name review, if it seems very competitive, you could also look for product 1 versus product 2, where you review two different products that seem to be the popular ones that people might be going back and forth between. There will be less searches, but those that are thinking back and forth between those two are almost guaranteed to click through, check out your site, and you have a much easier time of ranking for that term right there. That can work really well, especially on the high-end stuff or the recurring income. The other thing that you can do too is you can use the real-time lead finder inside of WebFire to do two things. One, type in the product that you want to be an affiliate for and just see if people are talking about it. If they are, especially if it's recent stuff, that's probably a good sign that it's an active market. There might be some exceptions out there where people might not talk about it, but it still might make a lot of sales. There's always exceptions like that. But if there's people talking about it, that's almost a guaranteed sign that it's a decent market. So that's one thing that you can do, use it as a research tool. The second thing is you can use it to find people asking about reviews or talking about it, and then jump in on the conversations right then and say, hey, I see you're looking at this. I actually wrote a full review of that, right here on my blog, or I made a video on a review of that. Feel free to check it out here, and you can drive traffic from those sites to your own sites just by entering in on the conversations that are already out there that you can use WebFire's tools to help you identify those leads. So it's a very cool and powerful trick. Right there, especially if you target stuff where you're making either a recurring commission or hundreds to thousands of dollars a sale. That's a lot of money just for one sale right there, and that's one of the quickest ways I think of that a brand new person can make an income from scratch right there. So definitely think of that. And on that note, those are the questions that we had emailed. So if there's any other questions, I'll go through the questions right now. And of course, I will have a cash giveaway right after. And to take part in the giveaway, what you'll want to do is you'll want to go to this link right here, just forwards to our Facebook group. You want to go to getwebfire.com/FB group. And Sharon has a post up there basically asking what you thought of the training of this call right here. And if you leave a comment on it, we'll pick a random comment to give $100 to, and we'll pick it randomly in front of you, so we're not making it up or anything like that right there. So we'll do all that live in front of you in just a bit. So, but make sure to leave a comment under there right now. And again, you can go to getwebfire.com/FB group. Make sure to share or like that and whatnot too. We always appreciate that, because the more of you we have on this call, the better. You can ask, we get more questions and more interaction. That's always good right there, so we appreciate it. But make sure to leave a comment right there, and we'll give a $100 to a random person in just a bit. So before that, though, we'll see if there's any other questions. You can feel free to type those in, and I will go through right now and see if there's any questions that popped up while I was talking, or if there's any that Sean or Sharon didn't answer yet.
See, don't make it sound like I didn't do anything.
All right. Well, I know Sean and Sharon oftentimes tend to answer a lot of questions in chat while I'm basically talking, so we'll see if there's any left, or if there's any common ones that I can answer live too. All right, so a person asks here, what is a schema? So a schema is basically, if you've ever done a search on Google and you've seen a result that has several pages for one site, or you do a search and it has a picture of the business and a map of the business, or you'd search for a review and you have stars under the site that show the review itself. Those are all different kinds of schemas. So it's telling Google more about your site, and they display more info on your site. And we actually have a new tool that helps you make a schema. But we actually did a prior call on that, including a walkthrough of the schema tool. So make sure to check out that. I think that was like 2 weeks ago, possibly 3. So if you check out that in the prior Wednesday training, you'll see all about the new tool we have there, and you'll hear all about what a schema is, along with examples of what that is as well. Okay. Okay. So here's a question from John here. Okay, I'm not quite sure what you mean, John.
Yeah, just keep going. John's got a better question coming up.
Okay. All right. All right. Bob, yeah, if you're using the social poster, yeah, you'd need the account info with that, so just make sure to check with your webmaster on that, or ask us and we can definitely help you there. All right, so John asks here, should my site analysis have a large list of keywords? I only have one, but I have 50 or more in my rank tracker. So a few things there. One, when you use the website analysis, you're basically analyzing the site for one keyword. Because
no, wait, Brian. You're basically analyzing the page for one keyword.
Yeah, you're basically analyzing the web page is what I meant. So every website can have multiple web pages, and every web page can be treated differently, like its own small site, basically. And when you analyze it, you want to analyze it one keyword at a time, or one phrase at a time, because it's impossible to check, like, let's say, to see if it's optimized for like 10 keywords at the same time, because that wouldn't really make much sense. Now, you can have a page that possibly ranks for more than one term. You can have a page that's decently optimized for a few different terms, sure, but you want to check it kind of one at a time. So if your main keyword is, let's say, weight loss tips for men, you want to see how optimized, your web page is for that term right there. So that's how the website analysis term works. But if you want to rank, or if you want to track 50 rankings, that's all fine. But if there's terms that are far different, like let's say you have a page on weight loss tips for men and another page on weight loss tips for women, you want to have a different web page for the women one, because that's a completely different topic. It'd be very weird if Google ranked the same page for both men and women for both those terms, because that wouldn't really make much sense. So if you have a different web page, you can specifically track that alternative page to see if you rank for that alternative keyword. So you definitely can do that. All right. All right, so Ken asked here if there's anything within Instagram that we do. So inside the social poster, which again posts basically for you on Facebook and Twitter, about a month back or so, we added an Instagram feature right there, which will send you like a reminder essentially to do like to click to post there. So we do have that added right there to make it compliant and all. So yep, you can check that. And we mentioned that in a call probably like a month or so back, but if you check out the social poster, it's all in that. Okay, this person asked here if we find a difference if the deadline's in like Pacific time or Hawaiian time. So rule of thumb is, try to use a deadline that, basically your audience would know. Like if your main audience is in Hawaii, you can have a deadline of Hawaii time, let's say. But, if your main audience is worldwide, or if they're, let's say in the U.S., typically they would know like Eastern time or Pacific time or stuff like that. So try to use a normal one like that. But, there's not, it's not like if you use Eastern time versus Pacific time that, one gets far better results is mostly like, it gets them to take action, and if they know the deadline soon, that's when they tend to want to take action a lot right then. All right, so John asked here, he said, so is it wrong to have a huge list of keywords in the rank tracker? No, because you can rank for multiple different words for one page, but you want to, like, basically the rule of thumb for one web page, you want to ideally try to target like one term on like essentially your title tag, but you might actually rank for several different terms there, and you want to know that, and you can try to rank and track for all that stuff there. But every web page that you have within your website, you might be trying to gear it towards a different keyword that you're trying to rank for, but you might pick up some additional terms and stuff too. So that's why we have the rank tracker, is that again, you can try to track all those different rankings and stuff. All right, this person asks here, what payment methods do you recommend for receiving payments from clients? Typically, whatever is the most common for you. We use our own merchant account. We use PayPal. We use Stripe. I mean, whatever works for you. I find one of the easiest ways to start essentially is PayPal, because it's super easy and it's pretty common now. But don't overthink that too much. Okay. All right, this person asked here, how do I change the one keyword, I'm trying to check in the site analysis. So with that, when you use the site analysis tool, where it asks for the keyword, you just type in a different keyword. And then it will analyze your site based upon that new keyword that you typed in. All right, trying to see. Yeah. So that's all you'd have to do. You check for a new keyword, and then it will tell you what you have to do to try to optimize your site more towards that. And I think based upon the SEO data that we recently did, if memory serves, it was that like most sites on page one were, I think they were something like 85% or more optimized for the terms that they ranked for. And that's basically on average. Of course, there's always exception to the rules and stuff there. So keep that in mind right there. All right, so I might be saying this name wrong, but Sulatha says, what if you're selling a physical product? What freebie would you give? Well, just because you're selling a physical product doesn't mean you can't give something away for free. So let's say you're selling, I don't know, maybe, let's say that you sell, let's say massage chairs. Okay, that's a completely random topic. I know, but let's say you sell those. Obviously you can't give a massage chair away. I'm sure you get a ton of people take you up on that offer, but you'd probably go bankrupt very, very quickly. But what you could do is say, hey, here's here's a free report or a free email on the top 10 tips to giving the best massage, or the top 10 massage techniques or stuff like that, where it can be techniques that your chair might do, but it can basically tell them, hey, these are the top 10 techniques, or these are the top 5 things to do, or even give out a report or like an email on the top 5 or top 10 things to look for in a massage chair. So it doesn't necessarily have to even be on like stuff that they can do on their own. It could be, hey, this is what to look for in a massage chair, where if they're doing research on them or they're looking to buy one, that would be a useful report that they'd probably want is, hey, what should I look for? Or another freebie could be on that note too. They could fill out a survey that might only be like a few questions long, that might ask, hey, what is your budget? Are you looking for the biggest bang for your buck? Are you looking for the cheapest one that does a good job? Are you looking for like the most elite one regardless of price? And based upon the answers that they give, you can recommend them a certain massage chair based upon that. So in that case, the freebie is the survey that will specifically tell them what would be of most interest to them. But at the end of the day, you're still selling them on the back end the massage chair. And again, you can apply that to like anything. That's just the first one that came to mind, just because I have a massage chair next to me at the moment, so that's why I thought of that. All right. All right, and yeah, Gene asked here if we'll index the weekly calls so they can go to ones that they need. We actually have all those saved in the members area, and it's under the training tab. You'll see specifically one for the Wednesday calls, and they should be labeled with titles right there, so you should see roughly what's what there. All right, and Cynthia says here that the schema training was on July 27th, and she says it was the best with triple exclamation points. So thanks. And I know there was a prior sheet. She probably said that because a prior person asked, what a schema was. So if you go to the training from July 27th, we specifically talked about schema, and we also did a walkthrough of the new tool that's included with that. So make sure to check out that if that was of interest to you. Okay, this person asked when the replay will be up, either later today or tomorrow morning. We always have within a day or less right there. This person asked what our thoughts on Amazon Pay was, and I agree with Sean there that anything that gets you paid is good. But don't try to essentially overthink too much on what the best way to get paid is right there. All right. This person asked what we talked about last week. It should be in the members area. Trying to think what that was. I think, was that last week I think was part 3 of the SEO analysis, if memory serves right. A lot of these calls all get mixed together in my head because we do them each week. But yeah, we've basically analyzed a ton of SEO data to really see like what ranks and what does not and why. And rather than give you theory and what might work, we actually analyzed a ton of data so you can actually see what's what. And Sean or Sharon, I'm not sure which one wrote, it looks like the one you just wrote back on was the wrong answer to the question. You're trying to write back to Jean. I think you wrote back to Monique instead. But I can answer that. All right, there, it just got fixed. So as far as what the link is to the Facebook group, it's getwebfire.com/FB group. And yes, again, we have replays to all these past calls. Just go into WebFire in the members area, and you'll see it under the training, specifically under the Wednesday calls right there. And with that, guys, let's do the cash giveaway because we're just past the hour, and I think I got through all the questions. If I missed one, feel free to re-type that in, or you can always ask our support later if one comes to mind later. Just write support@webfire.com or log into the members area and use the help desk to guarantee that there won't be ever like an email issue or anything like that, because you can always log into the help desk right there. So with that, all right, John said here he thinks I missed a question. I thought I answered all your questions, John, but if I missed one, feel free to copy and paste it or retype it, and I'll happily answer you.
Right. No, you did answer the question about how do you change the keyword that he's looking at in site analysis.
Okay. Yeah. So John, it's possible that you missed that, but if you think I missed a different question, feel free to type that in. But I believe I answered.
Yeah, and the answer to that is just whatever keyword you type in at the top of the site analysis is the keyword that it's going to use for that particular analysis.
So with that, guys, you can go to getwebfire.com/FB group, and if you leave a comment under the latest post from Sharon asking if you like this call right here, we'll pick a random winner from that. And again, I'll just go to that post right here. So I'm just going to pause the screen for a second to see that link right there. And I'll go to the Facebook group right here. Just taking a second to pull up right here for whatever reason. All right, there we go. All right, I'll refresh the page. All right, so right here is the page. And here is the comment or the post from Sharon right there, just asking what you thought of the call. And of course, you can leave a comment under here. We have a bunch of them right here. It looks like a few of you posted outside of there, which is fine too. So lots of people posted right there. All right, lots of posts outside of there, so that's all fine and good. And yeah, so just leave a comment right here. Be sure to like, love, share, all that good stuff right there. We always love that too. And I'll give you maybe another minute to leave a comment, then we'll pick a random winner. And I have a random site up as well too, so, or a random number counter basically. All right, and Sean, if there's anything you want to add in the meantime as we give them a minute or two to wrap up, feel free. I'll see if there's any other questions in the meantime.
No, I think we're good. John, you're welcome. Monique, you're welcome. Harmesh, people are just typing in, they're thanking us inside of GoToWebinar, so you guys are all welcome. Anyway, just get your things posted up, and number one thing in here when they're using tools, taking action, it's a good thing. It's a lot easier to be successful if you actually do stuff.
Yep. So what I'll do is I'll do a 10-second countdown, then I'll pick a winner from that. So we'll do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, half, quarter, 0. All right, click refresh. All right, and we'll do a quick count right here just to make sure. So we have 40 comments, looks like right there, and 40 plus. We have some others down here. So we have 41, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So there's 7 right there. So our 47, I mean, right there. And of course, guys, you can always like and share and stuff too. We always like that as well. All right, so 47 comments. I will go to the random number generator right here. It'll be between 1 and 47. Click generate. 14. All right. So 14, count down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 was Debbie. 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so 14 is Priscilla Wan. So if that's you, you are $100 richer right now. Just make sure to type in your PayPal email into the little chat box on this call, and Sharon will get that down and send over $100 to you. So again, Priscilla Wan, if that's you, congratulations. You are the winner this week. So just make sure to type in your PayPal email, and Sharon will send that over to you. All right, guys. And with that, we appreciate you guys all being on this call, and we look forward to you guys next week. Again, every week, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll do these calls right here. And again, if there's any topics that you want to see covered or any stuff you need more help with, again, just feel free to ask. And it looks like Sharon, Priscilla just wrote a link to pay her on PayPal. And John said he has a habit of seeing his name right next to the $100 winners. So close. So sounds like you've had some close ones there. But again, every week you'll have a new chance right there. All right. So yeah, thanks Pris for being on the call, and congratulations on being the $100 winner. Laura asked here, where would you like us to send topics and suggestions? Well, you can either write it in the chat here, or you can write support@webfire.com, and they'll pass it on to us. And definitely we'll try to work that stuff into the future calls as well. So again, guys, thanks for being on this call, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And with that, if you have any other questions at all, you can always feel free at any time to write support@webfire.com or use the help desk inside the members area. So with that, thanks guys, and remember, if you can make it to Atlanta, make sure to sign up at that link at getwebfire.com/event, and you can meet Sean and myself in person. So with that, guys, take care, and we'll see you later. Bye.